After 2 decades, I found out that my wife and her sister switched their babies at birth to hide a troubling secret from me. I'm Thomas, and I always thought that family ties were stronger than anything else. I believed the connection I had with my daughter was in our genes. However, I discovered the hard way that genetics are merely a chemical blueprint, and those you trust the most can betray you in unimaginable ways. Now, at 48, I run a successful logistics company. For 20 years, I thought I was living the ideal life with my beautiful wife, Angela, in a spacious home in the suburbs. Our daughter, Chloe, was the joy of my life, intelligent, kind, and talented. She was a sophomore in college, pursuing pre-law. I worked tirelessly every day to provide for her, covering her private school, car, and tuition, all with a smile because she was my little girl. Angela was very close to her younger sister, Betsy, who was quite different from her. While Angela was neat and composed, Betsy was disorganized and wild. Both were pregnant at the same time 20 years ago, a hectic period for me as I was often traveling for work to establish my business. Angela and Betsy opted for a specialized birthing center in a remote area, seeking a natural experience. I wasn't thrilled about it, as I preferred a hospital, but Angela insisted. I missed the birth due to a delayed flight caused by a snowstorm. By the time I arrived, both babies had already been born. Angela had a girl, Chloe, while Betsy had a boy, Ryan. I remember holding Chloe for the first time. She gazed up at me with big blue eyes, and I fell in love instantly. Ryan was a challenging baby, crying constantly, with dark hair and eyes. Betsy raised him alone since the father was absent. I felt sorry for her and offered financial help over the years. Ryan grew up troubled, getting into fights, stealing cars, and eventually dropping out of school, while Chloe blossomed into a wonderful young woman. I believed it was due to our parenting, thinking I was simply a better parent. I was wrong. 2 months ago, everything changed. Chloe collapsed at college, and her roommate found her unconscious in the dorm. I received the call at 2 a.m. and rushed to her university. Angela met me there, and the doctors informed us that Chloe had a serious kidney condition, which was genetic. They said her kidneys were failing rapidly, and she needed a transplant right away. "I'll do it," I said without hesitation. "Take my kidney." "I'll get tested too," Angela insisted, sounding like a worried mother. They took our blood and ran tests. 3 days later, Dr. Henderson requested to meet with us in his office. He appeared uneasy, closing the door before sitting down. "Mr. and Mrs. Miller," he said, "we have an issue with the donor matching." "What is it?" I asked. "Are our blood types incompatible?" "No," the doctor replied. "It's the HLA markers, the genetic testing." He looked at me. "Thomas, you are not a match for Chloe. In fact, the DNA indicates there is a 0% chance you are her biological father." It felt like a punch to the chest. I glanced at Angela. Her face was pale, not shocked but terrified. "That's a mistake," I said. "She's my daughter." The doctor continued, looking at Angela. "Angela, you are not her biological mother either." The room fell silent. "What?" I stood up. "That's impossible. We brought her home from the birthing center." Unless the center switched the babies," I said. "That can happen," the doctor acknowledged. "Rarely, but it does. However," he added, looking at his file, "while neither of you are the parents, Chloe shares significant DNA with Angela. The test suggests that Angela is likely her aunt." My mind struggled to grasp this. If Angela was Chloe's aunt, then Chloe was Betsy's daughter. I turned to Angela. "What is going on? Did you take Betsy's baby?" Angela broke down in tears. "No, Tom. Please, it was a mistake. A mix-up at the center. We just realized it too late and didn't want to upset you." "You realized you had the wrong baby and didn't tell me," I shouted. "We were tired," she sobbed. "We were new mothers. Please, let's discuss this later. We need to save Chloe." She was right, saving Chloe was the priority. We contacted Betsy and informed her that Chloe needed a kidney, but we didn't mention the DNA results yet. Betsy came to the hospital, got tested, and was a perfect match. She donated her kidney to Chloe, and the surgery was a success. Chloe would live. But while she was recuperating, I began to investigate. Angela's story didn't add up. A mix-up they simply accepted? No, I hired a private investigator named Frank and had him look into the birth records, but more importantly, I asked him to investigate Ryan. If Chloe was Betsy's child, then Ryan, the troubled kid who looked nothing like us, had to be Angela's son, which meant Ryan was my child. I needed to find out. I tracked Ryan down living in a halfway house nearby. I told him I wanted to take him to lunch. He seemed wary, but agreed for a free meal. He looked rough, covered in tattoos, with a scar on his cheek. As we sat together, I studied his features closely. He didn't resemble me or Angela. He had very distinct traits: a sharp nose and unique eye shape. I managed to get a DNA sample from him after he drank from a soda can. I sent it to the lab, and a week later, the results arrived. Thomas Miller is not the biological father of Ryan Miller. Angela Miller is the biological mother of Ryan Miller. So, Angela gave birth to Ryan, but I wasn't his father. Who was? I revisited Ryan's photos. His face looked familiar, nagging at me until it hit me. I went to my home office and dug through old boxes of photos from 20 years ago. I found a picture of my former business partner, Marcus. Marcus and I started the company together. He was my best friend. But about 6 months before Angela got pregnant, we had a major falling out over his embezzlement attempt. I fired him, and we both sued each other. It was ugly, I hated him more than anyone. I compared the photo of Marcus with Ryan's. They looked almost identical, dark eyes, sharp nose, and even the way Ryan smiled. Ryan was Marcus's son. Everything clicked into place like a car crash. Angela had an affair with Marcus, my best friend and my enemy, while Betsy got pregnant by some random guy. They went to the birthing center, and Angela gave birth to Ryan. She knew the moment she saw him that he looked just like Marcus. She realized if she brought that baby home, I would know. I would see Marcus in his face, leading to divorce. Betsy had Chloe, who looked more generic with blue eyes like Angela's, making her easier to pass off as my child. So, the sisters made a deal. Angela took Betsy's baby, Chloe, and presented her as mine, while Betsy raised Angela's baby, Ryan, as her own. They sacrificed Ryan, letting him grow up in difficult circumstances with a mother who didn't truly want him, all to shield Angela's lifestyle. And I raised a child that wasn't mine, while my wife lived a lie every day for 20 years. A pure, blinding rage consumed me. I wanted to destroy their lives piece by piece. I waited until Chloe was fully recovered and discharged from the hospital to avoid stressing her. I planned my revelation for Chloe's welcome home party last Saturday, hosting a dinner at our house. Angela played the relieved mother, while Betsy acted as the heroic aunt who donated a kidney. Ryan was there because I invited him. Why is Ryan here? Angela whispered to me in the kitchen. He smells like cigarettes. He's family, I replied coldly. As we sat down for dinner, roast beef and wine, I stood up to propose a toast. Angela smiled, saying, "Oh, Tom." To the truth, I said. It has a funny way of coming out, doesn't it? I picked up a large envelope from the table. For 20 years, I thought I was the luckiest man. I believed I had a faithful wife and a daughter who resembled me. Angela's smile faltered, but then Chloe got ill, and science revealed a different truth. I pulled out the first document. This is a DNA test. It proves that Chloe is not my daughter, nor is she Angela's. I looked at Chloe. I love you, sweetie. You are my daughter in every way that matters. But biologically, you are Betsy's. Chloe gasped, looking at Betsy. Aunt Betsy. And that's why she was a perfect kidney match, because she is your mother. Tom, stop this, Angela screamed, standing up. Not in front of the kids. Sit down, I warned, slamming my hand on the table. I'm not finished. I turned to Ryan, who was just eating a roll, looking confused. If Chloe is Betsy's baby, then who is Ryan? I pulled out the second document. This test confirms that Ryan is Angela's biological son. Ryan dropped his roll. What? That's right, Ryan, I said. Your Aunt Angela is your real mother. She gave you away like a used coat because you were inconvenient. That's not true, Angela cried. He's lying. Why were you inconvenient, Ryan? I asked, ignoring her. Was it because I wouldn't love you? Ryan shook his head. No, I would have loved any child of mine. I presented the third item, a photo of Marcus, holding it next to Ryan's face. You were inconvenient because you look exactly like your father. I stared at Angela. Her face turned gray, and she trembled. Marcus, I said, the man who tried to steal my company, the man I despise most in this world. You slept with him, got pregnant, and instead of owning up to it, you swapped babies with your sister. You denied Ryan a father, a stable home, and let him struggle while you lived in comfort. You lied to me every morning for 20 years. The room was dead silent. Betsy cried quietly, Ryan glared at Angela with hatred, and Chloe held Betsy's hand, looking shattered. Get out, I told Angela. Tom, please, she begged. It was 20 years ago. I did it for us. I wanted us to be a family. You did it for money, I countered. You knew I'd divorce you if I found out about Marcus. You did it to keep the house and cars. I have nowhere to go, she sobbed. Go to Marcus, I suggested. I hear he's out of jail now. Maybe he has a spare room. I tossed the divorce papers at her. I filed these this morning, and due to the paternity fraud, I'm suing you for 20 years of emotional damages and the return of every dollar I spent supporting you. You will leave this marriage with nothing. Angela fell to her knees, looking at Betsy. Help me. Betsy turned away. I told you we should have told him, she whispered. And you, I looked at Betsy. You were just as guilty. You sold your son for a payoff to stay silent. Get out of my house. Angela and Betsy left, screaming at each other in the driveway. I was left with the kids, Ryan and Chloe. I turned to Ryan. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry your mother failed you. Ryan looked at me. So, you're not my dad? No, I replied. But I'm the only man here willing to help you. The aftermath has been brutal but necessary. The divorce is ongoing, and Angela's life is in ruins. Everyone in town knows what she did. She now lives in a cheap apartment, working as a receptionist, trying to reach Chloe, who has blocked her number. Betsy is under investigation by social services for falsifying birth records. While the statute of limitations may protect her from jail, she has lost Chloe, who wants nothing to do with the woman who gave her away. Chloe is with me now, and we are closer than ever. I legally adopted her as an adult last week. We made it official. She is my daughter, regardless of DNA. And Ryan? I couldn't abandon him. Despite being the son of my enemy, he was an innocent victim. I paid for his rehab and got him a job at my company's warehouse. I told him that if he stays on the right path, I'll fund his trade school. He's making an effort. He calls me boss, not dad. That's okay. Recently, I found an old letter in Angela's jewelry box that she left behind. It was from Marcus, dated 20 years ago. Keep the kid or don't. I don't care. Just don't ask me for money. She kept that letter, possibly as leverage. I don't know. I burned it. Now, looking at my life, the house is quieter, and the deception is gone. It hurts to know that the last 20 years were built on a lie, but when I see Chloe healthy and happy and watch Ryan finally getting a chance at a better life, I know I made the right choice. The truth may have destroyed our lives, but from the ashes, I am building something new.